Welcome to Season 2 of The Journey. I'm Didi Onwu, your host for the next few weeks as we follow these changemakers. Every episode will follow the entrepreneurs as they navigate how to secure more customers, refine their business models, and scale their businesses. They'll set their own targets and try and reach them. Through their ups and downs, we'll explore topics such as job creation, revenue growth, and the art of balancing being young and running a business. Let's meet Sharon Alonyeku and learn how this law student is making fashion cool again.
So in the back of my mind, I'm going to be steady making a certain amount of money with my small green bag. It's how hard can it be? Then orders started coming, they started growing. And at some point when it was growing, I didn't even realize it. In the midst of it being a little hard, it has been such an amazing learning journey, and it has made me the person I am becoming. My name is Sharon. I am the founder and CEO of sustainable clothing brand Pink Street. I am interested and intrigued by everything fashion, and that's the reason why I run a sustainable clothing brand. I started Pink Street because I wanted extra money. I literally wanted to do my nails, and my parents kept telling me, not under our roof, not with our money. So I started a business that would give me extra money. So I asked my friends, I did a bit of digging, and I just moved to my current uni where there's not a lot of shops. It's still a developing area. So I took advantage of the fact that there weren't a lot of affordable clothing options, and I started Pink Street.
So Sharon and I basically met on the first day of school. We were in the same classroom doing the same program, law. And from there, we found out we were neighbors in our hostel. And then after that, she decided she wanted to start a business. So as her friends, we supported her. We would go out with her to sell clothes. Personally, I would be her model for a lot of the time.
I'd already started a business and failed, so I knew that much, that a business had to be feasible, or it had to be something people wanted so they could buy. One of the things that helped me with Pink Street was I was able to recognize why I had failed in that particular business. And I'd failed because I didn't really introduce the factor of what people wanted. I just bought jewelry I liked. So when it came to the time where young girls were not really feeling what I was feeling at that point, I had to wear most of it myself. And so when I was starting Pink Street, I made sure I was very, very careful. I asked around so I can factor in what people wanted. My parents were not entirely thrilled in the beginning. Now they're my biggest supporters, but your 19-year-old wants to start a business that requires her to move about and, take time off school sometimes for certain things. I think it was a bit hard in the beginning, and I like to say this: your parents love you, but your parents don't exactly respect you until you give them a reason to respect you. And Pink Street is one of the reasons why I believe my parents respect me now.
Initially, I was a bit hesitant because she's my friend and it didn't feel really good. But then she insisted, and so I agreed at a point. Then last year ending, that was December, she wanted a partnership. So she suggested it to me, and then I agreed. So from there, she became my business partner instead of just an employee.
It can be an uncertain journey, and there's a lot of trial and error. You have to try many things. So sometimes you might meet a few challenges here and there, and sometimes they are not things you expect. When it comes to Ghana, there has been a lot of inflation. And so sustaining the business or starting the business is a little hard because it becomes a little hard to increase the price when one of your unique selling points is affordability. So we've dealt with that, but all in all, we try to communicate with our customers a lot. We try to keep them informed, and we try to always keep it reasonable because we do not want to lose that part of us. So I think the reason why people are looking more towards sustainable fashion is, one, awareness. Day in, day out, people are creating more and more awareness on the importance of slow fashion. At first, I used to get offended when people ask me, oh, Is this one worn before? Not everyone can wear thrifted clothing, because when we would model the item, sometimes people would comment on that post like, oh, I don't want something that has been worn before.
A lot of people have opinions about everything, and then people feel like it's their obligation to say whatever comes to them.
Our market is peculiar to us, and I've made peace with that. When it comes to setbacks or failures in the business, I'm just like any other girl. Sometimes I would cry.
She can be like very sensitive about quite a number of things. Things get to her very easily. Even though there are a lot of people out there who can just ignore whatever happens, but then I feel like Sharon is just not one of those people.
And one thing I've been taught in my wellness sessions is sometimes you have to let yourself go through the motions of whatever it is you're feeling. So if it's disappointment, if it's anger, if it's hurt, I allow myself to go through it for like a bit. And I always just tell myself, you've come so far from one green bag to all the amazing things you're doing. You're on the right track. My biggest mentors are my parents. They taught me to always be true to myself, to be a person of integrity. They also taught me to, deal with all the challenges that come my way as they come.
I really want Pink Street to keep growing. From the time I saw Pink Street start till this point, it has just been growing. It has gotten better, even though there's been setbacks.
Not every business is a walk in the park. In a couple of years from now, when people are naming one of the biggest sustainable fashion businesses in Ghana, they're going to mention Pink Street. And I'll be there because I decided to stick to exactly what I wanted. My favorite prize, the storytelling prize. I have other young people who genuinely ask me, how did you do this? How are you going about this? And I feel like as we entrepreneurs like myself continue to tell our story and show them what to expect, exactly what it's like, and the kind of fulfillment we get from what it is we do, young people out there are going to delve more and more into entrepreneurship in the coming years.
We just heard from Sharon, who discussed the challenges she faced, including dealing with inflation in Ghana and the struggles of maintaining affordability as a unique selling point. Let's meet Nzinga Antonio, a pastry chef that operates from the province of Luanda in Angola.
O meu nome é Nzinga Maria Antônio, tenho 23 anos de idade, sou empresária. Comecei a empreender no ano de 2020, na fase da pandemia. Despertei o gosto pelo empreendimento porque queria atingir a minha independência financeira. A minha empresa chama-se Gaiusa Pastelaria. O que me motivou a escolher pastelaria foi na fase da pandemia, que a nossa vida era internet, telefone. Eu ficava no Instagram só a ver páginas que faziam bolos, e o que mais me chamou a atenção na altura é que as pastelarias estavam a trabalhar, embora não recebiam clientes, mas faziam encomendas, entregavam com todo aquele processo e calma por causa da Covid e etc. Então foi isso que me motivou. Eu falei, eu estou parada sem fazer nada, afinal as pastelarias podem trabalhar, então eu vou ser pasteleira. Sim, então foi aí que tudo começou, foi isso que me motivou. Saber que na altura da pandemia as pastelarias estavam a render, não pararam de funcionar.
Fiquei com um bocadinho de receio porque todo negócio, né, contém riscos, então ela podia ter caído num risco que depois podíamos suprir, mas graças a Deus não foi o que aconteceu.
A minha entrevista foi meio que simples. A primeira questão foi se eu sei fazer as coisas. Foi isso que aconteceu. Eu disse que sei fazer e colocaram a minha prova. Passa as mini pizzas, começamos com as pizzas. Então, mostrei para elas que eu sei fazer a pizza, provaram, degustaram, gostaram mesmo, estava muito bom. Eu posso admitir isso. Recomendo também.
Acredito ali com os seus 18, 19 anos, ou está a caminho dos 24, acho que também já ganhou experiência e mais responsabilidade e maturidade, que é para saber distinguir aquilo que ela deve fazer e aquilo que não, para que o negócio possa desenvolver cada vez mais. Então, acho que é uma menina boa, tem tudo para... Tem idade, tem tempo, tem conhecimento, tem experiência. desde 2000 para cá já são 4 anos.
Encontrei vários desafios. Por quê? Porque eu já vinha de empreendimentos fracassados, de empreendimentos que eu comecei sem traçar metas, comecei por começar porque queria ser empresária. Então, se tu começas dessa forma, as pessoas vendes uma coisa e não dá certo, e depois vens com algo que é sério, as pessoas começam a ver, isso é mais um empreendimento, isso é mais algo que ela está a fazer. Então eu tive que provar várias vezes que eu realmente era séria, que as pessoas podiam confiar em mim, que no dia exato em que elas fizeram pagamento para receber o bolo, iam mesmo receber, porque esse era o maior receio, né? Tu vais dar dinheiro, tu vais organizar a tua festa e no dia da festa não vais ter o bolo, porque vai acontecer alguma coisa. Então esse era o maior receio das pessoas. Uma menina de 19 anos vai fazer o bolo de uma festa e eu tive que provar isso às pessoas, que eu realmente era séria, que eu realmente ia cumprir com aquilo que era o combinado. Esse foi, assim, um dos maiores desafios. Foi difícil, mas eu tive que optar pela priorização de tarefas e também pela delegação. Nas fases em que eu estava muito apertada na faculdade, foi aí onde eu aprendi a delegar, porque isso também foi muito importante, porque aí eu comecei a compreender que eu não podia fazer tudo, que não existiam duas zingas para fazer duas coisas ao mesmo tempo. Então isso ensinou-me a liderar também, porque eu tinha mesmo que delegar, eu não podia estar na faculdade e na pastelaria ao mesmo tempo.
O mais difícil é que nós somos seres humanos e estamos sujeito a passar por situações em que nós devemos seguir ordens direitas. E, na realidade, nós não estamos assim, como é que eu posso dizer, muito bem focados nesse lado. Temos nossas falhas. A parte mais difícil é que a nossa patroa gosta de pontualidade e precisão. Essa é a parte mais difícil de ser, para mim, pelo menos, para ser preciso e pontual. Nós lutamos sempre com isso.
Trabalhar com a Zinga é fácil. Ela gosta muito de pontualidade. Primeira questão, ela gosta de seriedade. Tem que ser muito cheia com o trabalho. Nós trabalhamos com comida e é tudo. Ela é uma ótima pessoa também.
Isso tem sido algo difícil, realmente. Um dos fatores é mesmo a falta de eletricidade. Quando tens encomendas programadas, num horário programado e há cortes de energia, muitas vezes sem nenhum comunicado, não temos como nos prevenir. Então aí eu tenho que me desdobrar. Que alinhem no empreendedorismo, mas que venham com força, com garra, porque vão cair muito. E o importante é levantar-se, continuar e não perder o foco.
Quando eu estou aqui na Gaiosa, vejo a minha patroa, a motivação dela, fazer o bolo. Através dela também quero meter numa pasteleira, também é meu sonho. Sim, quero meter numa pasteleira, porque nunca trabalhei com pessoas assim, porque ela é muito, muito, muito linda. Tudo que ela fez, então também quero meter numa pasteleira igual a ela.
Em qual dos 4 grandes prémios estás interessada e por quê?
Eu estou interessada no prémio Storylink Prize, porque eu achei interessante este prémio pelo facto de que eu pudesse contar a minha história, de onde comecei, né, ou seja, de onde comecei até onde quero chegar. E só desde o ano 2022, que é o ano que eu entrei para a Anzicha, até agora, que é a altura que estamos a gravar essa entrevista, já muita coisa mudou. Os primeiros vídeos já não são onde são feitos hoje. Era a pastelaria mais pequena, agora estou num sítio maior. Então, contar essa história, eu sei que de alguma forma um dia será muito importante para mim. Quando eu olhar e ver toda a história que eu contei durante o processo em que estive na Anzicha, disso eu vou me lembrar sempre.
We just heard from Nzinga, who started her bakery business in 2020 during the pandemic. Nzinga shared her journey, motivations, challenges, and experiences as a young entrepreneur. And that concludes episode 6. Sharon and Nzinga both faced numerous challenges, including doubts about their young age and previous failed ventures. However, they rebuilt and proved they were serious and reliable, gaining the trust of their customers and building their reputation. Sharon and Nzinga are competing for the Storytelling Prize and hope their stories will inspire other young people to venture into entrepreneurship. We are getting closer to revealing who the grand prize winners are. Have Sharon and Nzinga done enough to cement their place on the leaderboard? Tune in to the next episode to find out.
From a VYE to a VYE. Nobody sees the times you have to cry yourself to sleep. Nobody knows the kind of hard decisions you have to make. No one sees the times you nearly give up. No one sees the responsibilities you take up. No one sees the struggle you put in to maintain the balance. But I see you. The journey you've opted to take is not easy. They probably don't understand, but I do. My name is Sharon, and I see you.